Hello, my name is Andrew Jensen, and my presentation will be on the Panama Canal. So what is the Panama Canal? It's a system of lots of waterways allowing ships to pass through the Isthmus of Panama, as opposed to going around South America or north through the Arctic Circle. It's only 40 miles long, so it's not a very long canal, but it saves the world thousands of miles on transportation costs every year, varying slightly based on country of origin and destination. So for example, if you're traveling from the east coast of the United States to the west coast of the United States, it saves approximately 8,000 nautical miles. The Panama Canal has 12 lots, allowing ships to elevate 26 meters above sea level. The history of the Panama Canal begins early with the Spanish in the 1700s. The Spanish lost preeminence in the area with the liberation of Colombia in 1810. This pushed the Spanish out of the area, and they really didn't have very much influence in Central America over this project after that. The Colombian government made an agreement with the French organization Compagnie Universelle du Canal International. This company's exploits in Central America were controlled by the famous engineer Ferdinand de Lesseps. Lesseps was responsible for the construction of the Suez Canal in Egypt, which lent him a lot of credibility in this venture. He was able to garner a lot of support in France, and a lot of investors invested in this project, particularly because Lesseps was involved. Fortunately for him and the French, he was unexperienced with the terrain and challenges that Panama would create. This eventually led to his plan failing, and the French pulled out of the Colombian-controlled Panama. People were dying, and the construction did not have the adequate supplies that they needed, and the plan was not the one that would actually help them eventually create the Panama Canal. The dream of the canal persisted, and in the early 20th century, the United States, under the presidency of Theodore Roosevelt, recognized the opportunity to build the canal in Central America. They debated between Nicaragua and Panama, but eventually settled on Panama. They decided against Nicaragua because there was rumors that there was a lot of volcanic activity in Nicaragua, and this would obviously make challenges for the eventual use of the canal in the future. The United States supported the revolution in Panama after the Colombian government threatened to pull out of the agreement they had made with the United States. After a Panamanian government was established, a treaty was set up and construction could finally begin. The Panama Canal was finally opened in 1914, only 10 years after construction began in 1904. The difference between the American success and the French failure is mostly due to their approach. The French originally started out with a plan to dig a sea-level canal, but this was highly difficult and unlikely to succeed in hindsight. Because obviously there's just so much dirt built up in this area that if you're trying to make the entire level sea level, it's going to be so much dirt and earth that you're going to have to move, and it's just impractical to do in a short period of time. And they didn't have the equipment nor the supplies they needed, again, because Lesseps was not familiar with the area. He only visited the spot twice. Once when this construction began, and then later on when he tried to secure investor confidence in the project. So once they realized the system wasn't working, they switched to a system similar to the eventual plan used by the United States, which utilizes lots to go over harsh terrain. But by then a lot of the investors had pulled out and the plan failed. The American approach was similar to a French plan developed by an engineer named Lepine. However, the French rejected his plans. The Americans utilized almost an identical plan to his own. They built a dam across the Chagres River, which created a man-made lake, further into the jungle. Then they added lots and were able to span the length of the country. I wanted to focus on the history of the Panama Canal because it shows how engineering projects, especially civil engineering projects, from small to large, can be affected by geopolitical events. The eventual project can be changed dramatically by previous attempts at construction and political intrigue. It demonstrates how political knowledge and ability can become just as important as a solid engineering plan. So how does the Panama Canal work? So ships will approach the canal at either the Pacific or the Gulf of Mexico side. There are breakwaters on either side of the canal designed to protect the area from the elements. The ships will transit up the canal directed by a pilot who will ensure ship and crew safety. The ships will travel into the canal, be raised by a series of 12 lots that will close off a given area, then allow water to flow to the enclosed area from the higher side, raising the sea level, and then the boats can transit further up into those areas. Then we close off, the water will drain from the previous section, allowing more ships to come behind them, and they continue this process up the mountains. And then back down the other side, into the Pacific or the Gulf of Mexico. The process in its entirety takes, on average, 10 hours, although it can take much longer than that. The largest ship able to cross the canal are 366 meters, a beam of 49 meters, and a draft of 15.2 meters. The word for the mat size of ships is panamats. Small locomotives called mules are used to help pull vessels through certain sections of the canal. Here are my references, and thank you for your time.